Let me take you back to a moment in history. Picture this scene in Matthew 4, verse 18 through 22. Jesus is walking along the Sea of Galilee and he spots two brothers, Simon, later called Peter, and Andrew, casting nets into the water. They're fishermen doing their day job. Then Jesus says something unexpected. Come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people. Without hesitation, they leave everything behind and follow him. A few moments later, he calls James and John. Same deal. They drop their nets, leave their father, and go. Think about that. Can you imagine just dropping everything, leaving your career, your family, your comforts to follow someone into the unknown? What made them go? Was it trust? Was it curiosity? It's not unlike when we take that leap to follow someone we believe in, even if we don't fully understand where we're going. I had a similar experience. I was following a church elder, Elder Manoah, to a camp in Northern California. No GPS, no Google Maps, just his directions. It was dark, and after countless wrong turns, I was ready to turn back, but I didn't. Eventually, we found the camp, and the journey was worth it. I believe that's the first lesson in discipleship. You have to be willing to follow, even when the path is unclear. The journey to discipleship starts with trust. Just like those disciples by the sea, we start our journey with Jesus by trusting him enough to follow. It's easy to follow someone when you know the way, but what about when you don't? That's the crux of faith. Trusting someone who knows the way, even if you don't see the destination. I love the analogy of the mountain climber and the guide. The climber relies on the guide who knows every twist and turn of the mountain. He doubts, yes, but the guide reassures him, trust me, I've been here before. Discipleship with Jesus works the same way. He's been through every trial, every dark valley we face, and he knows the way out. And this isn't just a New Testament thing. This goes back to Abraham. Remember Abraham's journey? God didn't give him a detailed map. He simply said, go, and Abraham went. Faith journeys have always been about following without knowing every step in advance. Your calling is connected to your career. Let's get practical for a moment. When Jesus called these fishermen, he didn't call them to abandon their skills. He repurposed their skills. He said, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. Their skill set was still relevant, just redirected. What's your current job? Your natural gifts. Whether you're in finance, healthcare, education, or something else entirely, the truth is this: your talents are God-given and they can be repurposed for something greater. Author Dallas Willard says, the greatest issue facing the world today is whether those who identify as Christians will become disciples. He challenges us to live out our faith beyond just a label, to integrate it into every corner of our lives. Respond immediately. When Jesus called his disciples, they didn't say, let me think about that for a while. They followed immediately. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. How many unfinished projects do you have lying around? How many times have you said, I'll get to that later? Here's the reality. Delay kills momentum, and this is especially true in our spiritual lives. When Jesus calls, we need to act. The more you put it off, the harder it becomes to say yes. Let me share a story. A farmer delayed planting his crops one season. He thought he had plenty of time. Then the rains came, the ground became too wet, and he missed his window. His harvest was poor. And the lesson? When the time to act comes, act. Don't wait for the perfect conditions because they'll never come. Sacrifice is part of the journey. Here's the tough part. You can't take everything and everyone with you. When James and John followed Jesus, they left behind their father and their boat. Now, that doesn't mean we're meant to abandon our loved ones or careers without thought. But following Jesus sometimes means saying yes to him at the expense of other things. Missionary David Livingstone left behind a promising career and his family to spread the gospel in Africa. He faced hardships beyond belief, but he famously said, "I never made a sacrifice." Why? Because the reward of following Jesus far outweighs anything he left behind. So what's holding you back? Maybe it's a job, a relationship, a habit. But here's the thing. When you follow Jesus, you're not just walking away from something. You're walking towards something far greater. The disciples weren't focused on what they left behind. They were focused on who they were following. What does this mean for you? Number one, we need to identify our God-given talents. Take stock of your life. What are you good at? What energizes you? Now consider how those gifts can be used in a way that serves God's kingdom. Whether you're a teacher, a doctor, or a stay-at-home parent, your skills have purpose. It's time to consecrate those gifts for something greater. Number two, respond immediately. When you feel the tug in your heart to follow God, don't hesitate, act. Make the call, send the message, take the step. The moment you delay, you start second guessing, and that's when the opportunity slips away. Number three, be willing to sacrifice. Following Jesus means prioritizing him above all else. Sometimes that's going to require letting go of things or people you hold dear. But remember, what you're gaining is far greater than anything you're leaving behind. In closing, the invitation Jesus extends to us is the most important call we'll ever receive. Don't overthink it. Don't delay it. Just follow. Trust in the journey, because when you follow Jesus, you're never walking alone.